Kia ora, guys. Right, well, I'm a long way from where you last saw me, which was Austria was the last place. So if you guys are following my journeys from Bangladesh, that what I do, 7-8 months of traveling through from Bangladesh through to Austria, I'm in a long way away from there. I'm in New Zealand, the South Island of New Zealand. I'm in Queenstown, and I'm not here to make a video about Queenstown, although it is a spectacularly beautiful town. Look at this old steamship behind me here, surrounded by mountains, which is where I'm heading. So I'm heading up to the summit of Ben Lomond, which is up here somewhere. It's about 1800, just under that, named after the mountain Ben Lomond in Scotland. So anyway, I'm not going to do too much around here in Queenstown, but I'll give you a little look around. And we're going to take an alternate route. There is a main way of going up. I'm going to try and take one up the ridge line up through here somewhere. So let's get into that. Boom. Alrighty, we're at the trailhead here. There's my wife, Carmel. Most of you that have seen me travelling around the world wouldn't know that I had a wife, but there she is. But this is about the trail and not about her. And we've just taken the bus from the centre of Queenstown and we're going to Fernhilll region, which is the trailhead start for the alternate route up to Ben Lomond. House 71, famous. And we head up there. Yeep. So this is the trailhead right here. Bus 1, I think it is. Bus 1 from the town centre will bring you close to here, get off, and you have to go for a little bit of a walk through the lovely little suburb here of Fernhilll, and we'll head on up. So I'll start my watch, get this thing going, and we'll see how we go. It's kind of a little bit eerie in this forest down here at the lower section. Check that out. It's almost as though everything's dead, but it's all green up above. So glad they don't have wolves in New Zealand, because they'd definitely be in there. So there's quite a steep section, I think is called the burn, and I'm feeling the burn. Alrighty, we've popped out the forest here, and look at this view. They're the remarkable mountains there, by name and by nature. And it looks like we're at the worst of the thickest parts of the forest. Follow this little trail on up, and we're doing a-okay. So although we broke out for a little bit into the open, we've come back into the forest, but it's all dead. Which, when you're down Queenstown, you can see pretty much 3 layers of colour on the mountain. The green of the conifers further down, but then there's this kind of purple looking area, which we didn't know what it was, and then above that is the alpine layer. But here we are, this is the purple. We're in the death purple forest. I don't know what's going on here, but holy dooly, we're still heading up. For those of you that don't know, South Island is where they film most of the Lord of the Rings, and right now we're walking through here. Can't remember which one of the movies it was, when they're all running down the hillside through the forest and the orcs are chasing them. Well, one could be forgiven for thinking the orcs are going to come out from anywhere up around here. So that'll make some good video viewing if we had a meet and greet with some orcs. I don't speak Orcanese, so look at the views from up here. Here's all the dead forest section we've come through. Now we're up in this lovely tundra grass. Look at the remarkable mountains. The lake, what's the lake called? Lake Wakatipu. Lake Wakatipu. There's old Lake Wakatipu there. Don't know his name, but he's a freaking legend. We're like walking on this moss. It must be all coming down the mountain. It's like we're walking on a mattress They're not breaking through, but it's like it's all jelly under feet. Good for it's good for my knees. But what a beautiful hike. Just where, at this point here, 50 minutes. Just 50 minutes out of Queenstown. Well, 50 minutes up the hill. And getting up into the alpine layer here, range. It's a bloody ripper. Wow, there's mountains up here. There's still snow on them. We're early, what are we? Early December, summer. And there's still snow like on all these mountains around here, just sitting up in the top. But up there, that's looking a little bit deadly. We gotta get up there. But I don't see a trail, so we might be going off-road from here. Righty, after looking at the offline maps, there is no trail, but we just have to head up. Here's a bit of a ridgeline. And my watch, we see that as well. Whoa. Yeah, so there is a trail there. It's just not really defined. Right on! There, on the hillsides of the South Island, New Zealand, walks a Kiwi. Alone in the tundra, she plods on up the hill, determined for the summit. Looks like we've got a little bit of rain coming in from over here, starting to get a few spots now, but otherwise, yeah, it looks overcast, which is New Zealand. It is the land of the long white cloud, but it makes for very good conditions for hiking up mountains as you're not overheating, which is something you can't say for where I live in far north Queensland. It's probably a lovely 14 degrees, a light breeze, and just a little sprinkle of rain to keep you cool, keep them engines running cool. So it is a bit of choose your own adventure coming up here, and my wife's chosen her own adventure. The track's the track's over here, but you do you, girl. So we're following along. Well, I'm following along this little crevasse. Runs through here. Crevasse? What do we call that? A mini crevasse. A mivasse. Okay, so I'm going to follow that up, keeping that on my left, just aiming up and up. Here she comes, further alone, a solitary creature. So this is about as well defined as the track gets. Once we're up here on this tundra-y hillside, a little more than just well, you can see there. So all along here you can see these little pine trees, little conifers. Apparently they're an invasive species that are slowly, you can see them all around, some are getting a bit bigger, invading. So do your thing, pull out a couple, because they're slowly sort of taking over the hillside. This is Queenstown down here. You can take a gondola chairlift thing up to about there somewhere, and then from there I can see the hiking track comes through, up through a saddle and up to it there. So we're doing the fun way. Nobody on this particular section, but what a beautiful view of Lake Wakatipu, the Remarkables in Queenstown. Probably one of the best views in the Queenstown region. So we just briefly lost the trail for a little bit. There's one track going there, another one here, this one here. Kind of led around the base a little bit, so at some point you're gonna have a hell of a climb. So try to, if you're coming up here, stick on the ridge line as much as possible. If you start going off either side, you're probably taking a little bit of a wrong turn, because as you can see, it's not huge, it's not well defined, but we're gonna go along and then follow this. Man, it looks like a proper dragon's back up to the summit, but the views just get more and more incredible. Queenstown, and then these guys over here, which is trails that head off right over is Milford Sound, and there's like Franz Josef and Fox Glaciers and things a bit that way west. And one of the big ones around here is the Ruburn, the Dart, the Kepler, the Milford Track. That's all off over that way. So, you know, this part of the world is just a trekker's paradise. You can see the Ridgeline Trail here. Look at this, chopping away both sides. Beautiful little forest in here. But it gets a lot steeper on this rocky section heading up. What a beautiful view from this trail. Just on this shaly rock. So this would be quite a gnarly track to do if it was wet or a bit of ice or snow on it. Every now and then, oh god, this way it looks a little bit more polished, eh? Just gotta become the tracker. One must become the tracker. Whew. So you can see what I was talking about earlier, the different colours of the forest. You got the green layer here, and you got this kind of like purple belt, and you got that dead area. That's where we came down further that way. That's what it looks like when you're down at Queenstown. Look at these multi layers, and then you've got the alpine layer. It's like a delicious licorice mountain treat. Yum 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 yum. It's lovely. I love these ridgeline walks. My favourite. Just got views in every direction. A little bit challenging. I especially love it when it's slightly downhill like this. Let your legs recover, because that's been one hell of a slog up that ridge line. Where do we start? Over there somewhere. And we've got to get carrying on. Wow, it's really making you work for it coming up this ridge line. Every now and then you really feel like you're going the wrong way, because you know the path isn't well defined, and you're just like, well, if I carry on, am I just gonna go off over the edge? But invariably follow your nose, keep on pushing, and it starts to make sense. Every now and then you're just like, oh, here we go, it's making sense again. And then do another scrabble where you're like, oh man, I must have taken a wrong turn. Moral to this story is don't give up. So we're getting our hopes up. Now this is the summit, but we've been thinking that, oh shoot, which way? That way or that way? We've been thinking that on so many of these little summits, and then you've got another bloody, you get to it, you got to carry on, which is my False Horizons. And welcome to my channel, False Horizons. If you haven't been here before, go back and check out some other videos where I backpacked through Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Tajikistan, climbing through the Himalayas to Karakoram. And it's situations like this that I named my channel False Horizons, for continually just pushing on, never giving up. But of course, by the looks of it, this was just another false horizon. No. Yeah, we've got to carry on. Shit, I think we got to get there. I think that's it. Wowza. So that was another falsie. Oh man, this just keeps on giving. Luckily the views are just absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so that's got to be it there. That's the summit. Wow, it looks so far away. Oh god, I can see this is the saddle and the track coming down that most people come from. Whew. So at the summit, well, where I thought we would be on the summit, yeah, that's not it. That's it there. Alright, it's a long way away. I can see some tiny specks of people standing up there. Oh shit, we've got a way to go. But yeah, they're yelling out to us going, what the hell, man? Track's that way. Where the hell have you guys come from? Down this awesome, check it out, look at this ridge line that we've followed along down that way. That's amazing. So we're finally getting pretty close to the summit. We've been coming along all through here. It's actually pretty hard going. You see how few people actually use this trail. Like, it's nearly non-existent at all. But if you're coming up to Ben Lomond on the usual way that people do it, from the gondola, most people would take the gondola right up to the top and then walk through the saddle. Here, so we'll just come, here's the intersection. You end up coming around this side of the mountain and then following these trail markers up here. So this is how most people do it, but I can highly recommend doing the alternate way, because you have it to yourself, although there's nobody on this one either, so yeah, maybe you have all of it to yourself. Check it out, guys, we're at the summit, 1700 meters, Ben Lomond summit, and we've done 1300 meters, bit over 1300 meters of ascent up this ridgeline here. That's where we came, but the forest we come through was down that side. But 1300 meters of ascent, that's a lot for well, what did we get here? 3.5 hours I think it took to get here. The most that I've done in one day was about 2,300 meters ascent in one day. That was in Pakistan, up in the Karakoram mountains there. Check out that video on my channel. But this is freaking lovely. Carmel's down here getting out of the wind because it is freezing cold up here. The wind is blowing on the summer. So that's taken us, yeah, I think about 3.5 hours. We've got to head down this track here. I don't know if you can see it. It's down that way. So we're still got a ways to go. But I reckon, it doesn't have a name that way there, just calling it the alternate way. But the Ben Lomond circuit track, like, I think that's a great way of coming up here. It's hard going, you've got all these little ridges, and then coming around and then heading back down the more defined way is the way to do it. And that's well, we'll see how we go when we get down the bottom there. We've been up here for maybe half an hour. We're talking to actually a fella from Scotland was up here, so he was telling us how this compares to Ben Lomond in Scotland, which this is named after. But anyway, my hands are frozen and and we're going to head on down because beer awaits down at Queenstown. But what a view, bloody lovely. So it gets pretty steep, some of these little sections here. We're heading down to the saddle, coming off the summit, but it's really the rain now. The rain is really coming in, and it feels like the rain is like ice. It's ice rain, it's sleet. I wouldn't be surprised if it started snowing soon. Absolutely frozen. So that's pretty crazy, because when we started off this morning we're in t-shirts, and it was a little bit overcast, but far out it just changed like that. Alright, there's Ben Lomond somewhere up there in the clouds. We were good with our timing. We've come down, but anyway, here we are in what is known as the saddle between that mountain, I don't know what he's called, and Ben Lomond. And up here is a bird called the kia, which is the world's only alpine parrot. So it's native to the South Island, New Zealand, and mainly up in the mountains up around in here. Haven't been lucky enough to see any. That's probably because they're endangered. It says here there's only 5,000 of them remaining. They're one of the world's smartest birds. There's another one. It's a pretty smart bird, eh? Alrighty. It should be pretty good going. We were up there, that was a little bit steep coming down this section to the saddle. That is where we came up. So that just blows my mind. We started about here somewhere and came up this ridge line up to there and come down. So that's definitely the harder way to do it. And from here is a nice big trail and a dunny block if you need it. What I really like about this toilet block is they've clearly taken a photo to get it from the right angle. Here we go, because that's the mountain there and here's the hill. So if you get this perfectly lined up, which is about here, then it's not obscuring the view at all. It is the view. So you can have a toilet block that just disappears into the view. I really like it when somebody puts a little bit of effort and a bit of thought into something like that. How good is it? There's Queenstown down there, but it's just beautiful right now. The rain's kind of easing up a bit. This cloud here that's been sitting, the lake is down here, and it's just moving up the valley. You can watch it shifting, swallowing everything up. We're slowly but surely being swallowed up by the clouds. We're in it. I've been informed that it smells like cloud. So I guess it has a certain scent. Or is it just the red, or is it just the wet grass? I don't know. But she assures me that is the smell of a cloud. So we've left the clouds, coming on down. We're about to enter the forest. Look at this here. So I reckon what's going on is the native trees, but the pine, but this is all dead. All of this here, and I reckon they must be doing some form of eradication en masse of the pine forests. So yeah, clearly it's an invasive species. It's taken over huge areas. I guess they're trying to get rid of it and hope that the native forest, which is all here, is native, then sort of eventually revegetates. that area there. So although I love a good pine forest, I see what they're doing is like, yeah, good on them. All right, let's enter the forests. Have made it down to the Gondola station. It's kind of this thing here. They're building a fantastic new one here, so keep your eye on that one if you're in Queenstown. This is where most people will catch a gondola chairlift thingo up to here and then start the hike and then head on up the mountain to Ben Lomond, which cuts out about 500 meters of ascent. We're at tad under 800 here. Down in here is a restaurant and beer. Oh, and there's also luge tracks. That's what this is. So you can go luging all the way around here. I think they have bungee jumping and all sorts of other things up here. Fun times. Probably not bungee jumping off the crane, but this is in New Zealand, so I wouldn't put it past them. So we're going to head on down and maybe get ourselves a sneaky little beer. Yum, 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 yum. To the extreme. So check this out for a restaurant area here. You can catch these gondola rides up, which apparently is the steepest gondola ride in the southern hemisphere. It's Queenstown down there. You can come up here, I don't know when it closes. You can come up here and have dinner, breakfast, lunch, whatever. It's beautiful. But I'm gonna have a beer. Alright guys, that is the Ben Lomond circuit track, alternative track, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really have a name. We are up here at the Skyway Gondola Terminal, having ourselves a lovely Monteith. We're further south than anywhere in that is in Australia. The only way you can go south from here is go to Chile or Argentina. So we're a long way down south. So the sun doesn't set here until 9:30 at night currently. But later on in December, it'll probably be closer to 10 o'clock at night. But last night it wasn't dark until 10 o'clock anyway. So this hike took us about 7 hours. We left pretty late, but you could almost go and do it again because it's, yeah, that's the funny thing about being all the way down here. Right, that was 13 kilometers. Took us 6 hours, 45 minutes. And we, 1,400 meters ascent is what we did. We got up to 1,700, bit up 1,700 on Ben Lomond there. So I reckon that was great. It was a lot easier coming if you want to come up the gondolas here, obviously. You can walk up the hill. We did that yesterday and walked up. It takes about an hour and a half to walk up the hill to here, depending on your speed and your fitness. But I reckon that the way that we just did it, starting from Fernhilll area up the alternate way and coming back down and rewarding yourself with a beer here later on is the way to go. And the thing is, at this time of year in summertime, you can leave at lunchtime and you've still got a couple of hours of daylight at the end of doing a 7-8 hour hike. It's madness. Anyway, we've earned it. Have we earned it?
We've so earned it.
Alrighty guys, take it easy.